You said you didn't know who it was.
Yeah. Well, that only made things worse. I knew who it was all along. And I'm not letting Bobby take the blame.
You lagging bitch. That will do, Winter. You've been nothing but trouble since you came here. Mrs. Morris, take her to solitary. She can cool her heels there until the VJ hearing tomorrow.
I want her charged with assault.
And when did this alleged assault take place?
Look at me, it's hardly alleged. The blood's still fresh on my face.
When did it happen?
15 minutes ago.
You've been on duty for the last hour?
Aye.
Did you see any officer or prisoner in the vicinity of Ballinger's cell?
No, Mrs. Reynolds.
I'm telling you, she bashed me and she should be charged.
I wasn't speaking to you. Be quiet. Did you hear?
Mr. Cruikshank wasn't there when it
insist
happened.
on interrupting, I'll charge you with insubordination. Now wait until you're addressed. Did you hear or see anything indicating an assault?
No.
Now, do you have any witnesses to this bashing?
No, but Daphne... No, I was alone. She isn't that stupid.
You realize that to make a false allegation against an officer is a serious offence, don't you?
It isn't a false accusation.
Then how do you account for the fact that Miss Ferguson and I have been in conference for the last half hour?
You're lying.
I suggest you're lying, and I have your record to support my theory.
I'm not. She bashed me and I wanted to pay for it.
Mrs. Morris, when you came into this office, was Miss Ferguson in here with me?
Yes.
Well, Ballinger, unless you can provide proof that you were assaulted, I'm afraid I can't lay charges.
You set me up, all of you.
By rights, I should be punishing you for lying, but I'll wait until I get the medical report.
What did you expect me to do? I'm up on a murder charge I had nothing to do with. I'm not sitting still to get another 20 years hung on me.
If you're innocent, you'll have every chance to prove it in court.
That's a joke. Only chance I had was to get out when I could, and that bitch stuffed it up for me.
I'd do it again if I had to.
All right, that's enough. I won't list all the charges. I think you've got a pretty good idea what they are. You can thank your lucky stars our gate guard isn't seriously injured. You could have been on another murder charge. Full body search, make sure there are no more concealed weapons, and take it to solitary. I've just been to the infirmary to see your handiwork, Smith. And I've come to the conclusion you disgust me. Do you have an explanation for what you did?
She murdered her own kid.
And you're serving time for double murder, so what gives
They
you the
were
right...
kids.
So that makes a difference, does it? What a pity they didn't meet you when they were younger. They might still be alive. No, Smith. Not while I'm here. Take it to solitary, Mrs. Powell. 48 hours. So you decided to fool Dr. Weissman?
We only did it because we didn't want Reb to be sent back to Ingleside.
I warned you against abusing a position of trust. Obviously, I wasted my time.
It was my idea, Mrs. Reynolds. I asked her to look into the file.
Look, they didn't mean any harm. I was terrified of having to go back there. They're my friends. Good friends.
Obviously. However, I can't condone behaviour of this kind, no matter what the reason. Especially you, Egbert.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Reynolds.
You'll be informed of your punishments as soon as I've decided what's most appropriate. But I'd count on spending a lot more time in the laundry if I were you. That'll be all.
What about Reb?
What about her?
Is Wiseman going to get a release? There's a case for it
For
now.
the last time, leave it to the experts. If and when something's decided, Keene will be told. I don't think you really want to be on an extra charge, Connors. You're in enough trouble as it is.
For nothing. I might as well do something to make it worthwhile.
You still maintain it wasn't you who attacked Kelly?
If it was me, I'd have done it properly.
Then how do you account for all the evidence that points to you?
I don't even know what it is.
Point 1. The knife that was used in the attack was reported stolen from the kitchen by you.
Who says?
Mr. Pringle.
He's dreaming.
Point 2. When I asked McCormack if she'd helped you steal the knife, she was evasive and behaved in an obviously guilty manner.
Oh, she's always like that. She's religious.
Point 3. You're widely known to have a grudge against Kelly and to have threatened her on more than one occasion.
Me and 3 million
Point
other...
4. There is absolutely no reliable evidence as to Jenkins and your whereabouts at the time of the attack.
I was in the laundry. Just ask the others.
Under the circumstances, I hardly think their word can be considered reliable. Point 5. Kelly herself identified you and Jenkins as her attackers.
And you believed her?
Why should she lie?
Bloody hell, it's a setup. A 2-year-old could see that. She did it to herself to get back at me and Alice.
We've considered that. But the plain fact is, I don't believe she'd have the nerve to physically harm herself.
Bull, she wouldn't.
I admit the evidence is largely circumstantial, but there's a great deal of it, and it all points to you. This may change as extra evidence comes to light, but for the moment, I have to consider you as a principal suspect.
I didn't touch her, you silly bitch!
That's enough.
Never speak to me like that again, ever. A search of your cells revealed a number of capsules. How do you explain it?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They're sedatives, prescribed for and given to Merle Jones. I want to know how you got them.
I told you I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe Looney hid him there.
Why would Jones do that?
I don't know, she's a simp, isn't she?
Stop wasting my time, Williams. She's still sedated, but she said quite enough for me to put two and two together. You deliberately tricked her out of taking her medication. I can only imagine it was so that you could use her against the other women.
That's all just guess, and I'm the one who was bashed. What are you going to do to Maxwell?
If I were you, I'd be thankful I got off as lightly as you did. Now, for the record, I want a full admission of what happened.
What for, you know so much?
I want it from you.
All right. The women were giving me a hard time. Jones was my protection. It was self-defense.
Who are your accomplices?
I haven't got any.
I don't believe that. You're not the loner type. So who's been helping you? It's no use denying it, Kelly. You must have been part of it.
That's right, Governor. I was the punch bag.
Don't be smart. You're involved in a very serious business.
Story of my life, Gov.
Watch your mouth, Kelly.
Oh, why don't you wake up to yourselves? If it had been a setup, do you reckon I would have used my own face as evidence?
Take her out. I'll see Desmond next. So all visiting privileges will be removed until further notice. And you will all face charges of conspiracy against an officer. To say that I am bitterly disappointed in you, Desmond, and you, Bryant, would be an understatement. Miss Ferguson, get them out of my sight, would you?
Come along. Come on.
I want you to know somebody is going to pay for this.
Is that right? And I suppose you think you're going to get clean away with what happened at my daughter's wedding this afternoon?
Oh, yeah? What was that?
Spare me the innocent act. I don't know how you got word out to your friends, but they certainly didn't turn up there by coincidence.
You mean... What do you know, good old Slatter? Turned out to pay his respects, did he?
It's always a way with people like you, isn't it? You're never happy unless you're making someone miserable.
Is that so?
It was the most important day in those people's lives, but your low-level friends had to do their level best to ruin it for them.
And I bet their best was pretty good, eh? Well, maybe it might have taught that jumped-up kid of yours a lesson. I just wish I'd been there to see the look on her face.
Miss Ferguson. She didn't bash Lou Kelly.
What do you mean?
The women framed her so they could get rid of her.
Have you known about this all the time?
Yes,
And yet you allowed matters to go this far.
The women told me to stay out of it. I knew what was happening, but I wasn't sure what to do.
I shouldn't have thought that'd present a problem to someone with your sense of justice and fair play.
I'm sorry. I could see the women's side, too. I had to wrestle with my conscience.
Well, now that you've come to terms with it, you'd better tell me everything.
It was a setup. Miss Ferguson's been having some kind of blackouts, and the women used that against her. I can't give you any names.
You don't have to. It's obvious who's involved. Take Selby to isolation, please, and make sure she sees no other prisoners on the way. You were 3-1. Why didn't you stop her?
It all happened so quickly.
It didn't happen at all. All you've told me is a pack of lies. You led that helicopter on a wild goose chase. There was nothing wrong with that boat. It made very good time down the coast where it was moored. The young man boarded his ketch and sailed out to sea. The police have been told he was accompanied by a very pretty young girl. Her description leaves no doubt in my mind that it was Roach Waters. Oh, yes. I can see that makes you very happy. Well, there's still no news of Miss Ferguson, and we're beginning to fear for her safety. How happy would you be to share a charge of murder?
As soon as we hit land, she went off to get help.
Without her charges? I find that hard to believe.
She said we'd only slow her down, and that's the truth.
After the lies you've told me this morning, do you expect me to believe anything you say? I know how you felt about Miss Ferguson, Connors, and if the opportunity presented itself, you'd stop at nothing to get rid of her.
I didn't kill her.
Rita's telling the truth, Mrs. Reynolds.
So you let her walk off into the middle of nowhere, just like Roach.
Well, what were we supposed to do? Pin her down?
Take them to solitary, Mrs. Morris, and you'll stay there until Miss Ferguson is found, dead or alive.
It was probably Parker's Dilliver brother that brought the stuff in anyway.
Don't be ridiculous, Hunt. You know as well as I do that you both conspired to use the fate to get drugs in here. Now you're going to tell me how.
Oh, by helicopter, how else?
Watch it, Keen. I've had all I can take for one day. My God. I try to get some freedom from you all, and you throw it straight back in my face.
Freedom, that's a laugh.
I don't find it funny, Keen. Neither should you. You were the ones who went on strike and campaigned for those privileges. Get them out of here.
Shall I take them to solitary?
No. They can explain to the others why there'll be no more open days. The VJ can decide how much longer they'll spend in here. I don't care if I never see them again. After your last attempt to get rid of Miss Ferguson, you were warned to leave her alone, so why the hell...
You only have the nun as a witness.
Leave her.
There are half a dozen women who will swear that Ferguson bashed Kelly.
Because you told them to, and now you have implicated the women you're supposed to be looking after.
Selby wasn't even in the laundry when it happened.
Their evidence will be accepted by the department.
All right. It was my idea, but I made the women go along with me.
I was trying to help you. You lied to me. Right. If we can't work together, we'll do it by the book. As far as I'm concerned, I refuse to recognize you as spokesperson for the women. And if there are any more problems involving you, I will have you sent straight to Blackmore. Now get out! Don't lie to me. There's been enough of that already.
I'm not lying. I tried to tell you, Mrs.
You're
Reynolds.
trying to tell me that Myra Desmond organized the whole thing by herself. That she managed to get civilian clothes, a visitor's pass, and God knows what else without the other women knowing about it? I don't believe that.
Yeah, well, I knew about it, but
Not enough. This was too well organized for two people, and you know it. Well, did Desmond change in the tent?
no, Mrs. Reynolds.
Did Mason have any part in it?
No.
Civilians?
Civilians, I don't know what you mean by it.
Don't insult me, Judy. You have lied, plotted, and made me look a fool, so please don't insult me. Those grounds were crawling with civilians. Did any of them help you?
No.
I really didn't think this would ever happen to us, Judy. I busted a gut trying to support your strike action. More pay, better conditions. Oh, yes. And the open day, I really believed in that one. It'd teach the women to mix with people on the outside. That's what you said, isn't it? I didn't know what you meant at the time. Who helped in the escape? Get out.